Who Invited Them is the newest Shudder original. And this is about a couple who's throwing a kind of housewarming party. Mm-hmm. And they have moved to this really nice part of town. And
into the hills?
Yeah, I mean...
The Hollywood Hills?
As far as the synopsis goes, I mean, from the title, there's a couple there who no one seemed to invite it. No one seemed to have invited. Yeah. And they caused some mischief.
Ruckus.
Yeah. So that's about as much as I'd say on the matter. Mm-hmm. What'd you think?
I don't know. I feel like it's a fairly predictable movie. It's not anything that we didn't see coming as far as what the twist is and who the couple ends up being and all this stuff. I found the husband, so the not the couple that's uninvited, but the main couple, whose names I don't remember, but the husband was very obnoxious to me. Like, I really didn't like him. I think that was entirely the intention.
Yes.
But I just was, like, cringing the whole time he was talking. And so I will say that, like, he's memorable in that instance as far as his acting goes. He did a good job because I really disliked him. But I don't know. The movie was fine. I wasn't, like, in love with it. I didn't think it was anything super special. And I don't really have a lot to say about it, to be honest. Like, yeah.
This is one of those films for me that I enjoy the concept, but not as much the execution. That being said, it's a very competently shot movie.
Sure.
I think it looks great. I think everybody plays their roles well. As she said, the husband especially is an unlikable guy, but not an unbelievable guy.
No.
That also said, there are some very unbelievable actions and moments getting towards the end that kind of make you go, okay, come on. You're not that dumb.
Right.
Right? And this film also kind of introduces a interesting subplot that I still don't understand, dealing with the son and his dreams.
Yeah.
This, I really don't understand the inclusion of it. I don't know if it's meant to be a misdirect. I don't know if it's meant to have any kind of meaning towards what happened in the past, or how this movie ends. And as far as the movie's ending goes, it's reminiscent of something like Strangers Prey at Night. And something they say actually reminds me a tad bit of the setup of The Strangers. But overall, I liked the film fine. It is one of those things where it's a very delicate balancing act of having characters that you don't like all that much, while it being the intention, and overall you're supposed to be rooting for them. So it's tough because the point is that they're not a great couple.
Right.
The point is that, he's not the most authentic guy. And so it is kind of difficult because that's the story you're trying to tell. And you have to make the audience care. And your point of the story is like to have unlikable characters, and the characters being unlikable takes you out of the movie. Mm-hmm. But that's the point of the movie. So it's kind of an ironic balancing act.
Yeah.
That's really hard to nail, and it can be done. I just think that they went a little too far into the unlikability and into the unbelievability of their actions towards the end.
I agree. I think that's a great way of saying it, and I think that the subplot that is happening is completely pointless. I don't think that there was anything that tied it to like what's currently, I mean, I know that there's something that supposedly ties it to what's currently happening, but there's no payoff for that. And it just kind of goes nowhere. Like, I don't think that I think you could have entirely cut that whole subplot out of it and had the same exact movie. But the movie is very short. It's only an 80-minute runtime, so I think
75
it almost
with no credits.
feels like, yeah, that was included to kind of pad the runtime a bit, you know, because it would be significantly shorter without it. But I just thought it made no sense at all. It just, like, we would jump back to it here and there, and it was like, oh, okay, is something going to come of this? And it doesn't really, as far as the overall plot goes.
It's a subversion of expectations for sure, and I think it's supposed to be kind of a jarring WTF moment.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, as you said, and I think this is true, it's not necessary to have them even have a child. It's not necessary for them to even have this subplot with the friends. I've never known a couple to have their friends babysit, and for their friends who are babysitting, for them to hire a babysitter to take care of the kid they're supposed to be babysitting so that they can go to the party that the people who asked them to watch their kid. That was a really weird thing. I was very confused by that. I was like, wait, who's watching the kid? And then they came home and they were with the kid. And I'm like, but they were at the party. And it was like, well, I guess they got a babysitter. The babysitters got babysitters.
Right.
Then come home to then deal with the kid, which seemed pointless. And then to have, you know, one of them go do what they do. And then that kind of amount to nothing outside of, as I said, trying to be kind of a, oh ho, I can't believe that happened thing, which it didn't really feel like it.
No, there was not really any impact.
Yeah, it was anticlimactic.
Yes.
And the ending, the very, very ending, like the last 30 seconds, I think it'll piss people off, like the people who want that kind of definitive conclusion, because I know a lot of people do not like the more subtle or ambiguous endings. But I appreciate it fine. I'm not 100% sure what it's supposed to mean. Exactly. I have a couple theories on that, but I don't really care.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that, as you were saying about the unlikability and unbelievability of the characters, like, I really did not care what happened to them. I was kind of like, whatever, just whatever about it. And that's a shame, because I think we really, you know, as audience members, you have to have something that's compelling you to watch, whether it's because you hate somebody so much and you want to see them punished, or because you love them and you want to see them, survive or succeed or whatever. And this film just didn't really have, I didn't feel heavy on either side of the spectrum. So, yeah.
As far as the villains go, I quite like the motivations and their reasoning. I think it was kind of screwed up and not something I've seen done much. So I did like that, and I thought the performances from the two were good. But as I said, it's just that it gets to a point where anybody is going to be like, enough's enough. And they're going to be very aggressive about that. And even when that does finally happen, then it's like kind of reined back, and then they get themselves into even dumber situations that you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, you wouldn't fall for that.
No.
So, I don't know. It's a pretty hollow film.
Yes.
I think is one of the things. I don't feel like there's any depth to anything, but they do really, really try to have it, because that's the whole point of what these villains are doing to people, and their reasoning behind it. And I did like that, the reasoning and rutabaga versus cantaloupe.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I liked that. But you have to be invested, and we weren't. And yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if they did shoot this film and they were like, we only have like 55 minutes. We need to put in a subplot. let's get these people back. We're going to insert this to
Yeah.
pad the runtime a bit. I wouldn't be surprised because it does feel pointless and tacked on. Mm-hmm. So that's that.
That's that.
Shudder. You can choose to watch it if you want. It's definitely not like a horrible experience by any means, but
No.
not one to rush to.
No.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't invite this movie into my life.
No.
I guess I did.
You did.
I
I
pressed
didn't
play.
invite it. You're like,
Yeah,
I pressed play, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
She invited him.
But I didn't invite him.
No? All right. Well.
Bye!